and welcome back. Shout out to everybody who listened to the season debut last week of the Android Saga, Cell Saga, all this cool stuff. Shout out to all you guys. For a Saturday, come on.
Just the support. Support alone is just awesome.
The support is amazing. As you probably know right now, this is the Lookout Podcast. I am Meelz. We were, of course, here with the Platinum Chanel boy himself, Jeff.
Absolutely.
And it's just been a crazy... We're about to get into a crazy set of episodes, and then if anyone wants to sort of, pause this and watch the episodes beforehand, we're going pretty much through episodes 135 through 146, which is only about 11 episodes, but so much happens.
Yeah, it's so in-depth and so fun between just that part.
So many revelations. Like literally the first few episodes we went through about 20. This is just equal to, and we only go through 11. Like we're going through these next 11 episodes.
Yes.
And we learned so much. We learned, you know what? I want to play this game.
Let's do it.
Let's do this. It's called Last Time on the Lookout. And if you know this, it's pretty much what they do for every episode of Dragon Ball Z. It was like last time on Dragon Ball Z.
Right.
So we've got 30 seconds. Who wants to do it this week? Should I start it off and then maybe you do it?
Start it off. We can do that. Yeah.
Next week, I'll set up a timer. I got 30 seconds to describe what the hell happened in the last episode.
Oh man, that's gonna be difficult every week. But I like that. Let's do it.
All right, so I'm press the start button, and all right, last episode on the Lookout, we discussed the Dragon Ball Super movie. So make sure you check that out. We got all the information, the cool information on that. We talked about the beginning of the Android Saga. Frieza's back. What the hell Frieza's doing here? Oh shit, there we got androids now. Goku's about to die. He doesn't die. Oh my god, now he's here. There's androids. There's two androids. They're not the real androids. What the hell happened here? Oh, Vegeta's Super Saiyan. Shout out to Vegeta, my nigga. They find two new androids, a boy and a girl, and that's pretty much it.
That's all you can do, bro.
Yo, I failed. Yo,
it's cool. My 30 seconds on the next episode. I'm definitely gonna try to outdo you. So,
listen, that's a
challenge, bro. That's a challenge, bro.
If anyone can actually do it, my god, like because we talking about so much, it's so in depth. But these few episodes we get into, and last episode we ended on pretty much they discover there's 3 new androids at this time, the android 17, 18, and 16. And pretty much Dr. Gero's dead.
Yeah. See ya.
Vegeta, Trunks, and the rest of the Z fighters that aren't Goku are now, put up to sort of this mission on what to do from here. Do we destroy these androids? They're too strong, though. But so how do we even maneuver around this?
Right.
And the next series of episodes is definitely high drama. It's definitely a tone shift from the previous set of episodes because now, to me, this becomes way more plot driven.
I feel like the story and the plot gets like so much more aggressive whenever Goku's not in the picture. It's like everybody's freaking out. Like we need Goku. Right, like every time, bro. It's always like things just get so like deep and dark, and characters are like scared for their lives. And
they're making rash decisions.
Right. Just all of this because Goku's just out of commission.
My God. And how it's
and Vegeta's like the lead man. Everybody's stressed. Like
everybody's stressed because he's the lead man, and no one really. They're not at the point where they trust Vegeta yet.
Yeah, we're not.
Vegeta doesn't even care about them yet. We're not to the point where we've had the development of character where Vegeta's just like, you know what, these guys, they aren't the best, but they're still. Vegeta merely tolerates them at this point.
Barely.
He doesn't even tolerate his son to that extent.
Yeah.
But
future or present one.
Big facts. He doesn't even tolerate his son to this point. But it's just a tone shift. There's not so much, fighting. There's more stories. There's more. Everyone's making rash decisions. There's people getting destroyed. New characters are introduced.
It just gets weird. It just gets different.
It just gets weird. But look, probably the first major thing that we have to talk about is this fight between Android 18 and Vegeta.
Yeah, I've been waiting so long for this, bro. This is the fight that this is where I fell in love with her.
Talk about it. Talk about just why and just everything about it. Because to me, this is when you talk about female characters in Dragon Ball, there aren't that much, and most of them have been now kind of designated to like NPC characters. I believe we've had, Bulma was really the first one. Then we had sort of, I know Launch from Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
Was also she was kind of quirky, but kind of cool, but then still kind of like NPC. She never really contributed much.
Yeah, exactly.
Chi was like the first woman that actually fought in the series.
But 18 just opens it up. And not just her in general, but like, to be honest, I feel like this is one of the most humbling experiences Vegeta's probably ever dealt with as a warrior.
There's something different about you. What happened?
I'm showing my true self. I'm the most powerful being on this planet, and you're not welcome here.
You're quite brave for someone all alone.
Don't worry. I came prepared. I'm going to put you back in the crate you crawled out of. You're laughing. Why is that? This is not a joke.
Tell me, are all of you Saiyans so full of yourselves? Is Goku like you? Is this the way you try to hide your incompetence? We androids will always be superior to your kind.
You take that back! You'll regret saying that! You're nothing but a machine made of tin! You're just a bunch of toys made by a crazy old man! And don't forget that tin toys can be broken!
He talks too much.
What was that?
I'll handle this. Ready, little man?
So, it's ladies first, is it? That's fine with me. Now don't expect me to go easy on you. I fight to win.
I don't think it's Goku going Super Saiyan. I don't think it's, Frieza killing. Like, I think this was like one of those things that just absolutely was the most humbling situation for him.
So this fight occurs on the highway, which is a nice change of pace. It's nice, like a nice little landscape. If there was just a level in Fighter Z, I wouldn't be mad at it at all.
I know, right?
Trying to avoid. You know what? It seems kind of like it's like very. I forgot what game there is where you're actually like fighting and then like you could get hit by shit. It's probably that old ass Turbo of Time Ninja Turtles game on like Sega Genesis.
That's definitely facts. Those type of games in general. I remember the Spider-Man game was similar, like the back in the day, like the Spider-Man and those games that were kind of like you're walking on a regular street, and like things just come at you.
OD. So it's like they're fighting on the highway. Vegeta's talking all this shit, man. I mean, he's not Android 18 elects herself to fight because she's just like, I'm tired of this sort of this Android bashing.
She don't want to hear that shit no more, man.
Yeah.
She's tired of it.
Android 17 is like, I'm not really pressed because I know I'm stronger than him, but Android 18 is like, he's calling me a refrigerator and he's insulting my looks and he's calling
one of my favorite bars.
My God. He's like, so they're fighting. Vegeta doesn't care. He's destroying shit, destroying trucks, destroying people.
Yeah, Vegeta, dude, that was one of the craziest things about it. That kind of like set the tone for like separating where he is present and where he was back then in this saga. And it's like there was definitely a lot of civilians destroyed during this fight.
Yeah, they're going back and forth on this highway, and it's a lot of talking. And I think it gets to the point where Android 18, I'm not sure she's letting Vegeta win, but she's letting Vegeta have this like false sense of hope.
Yeah, I think she was curious. Because he talks so much shit.
So it's like, oh, he's got to have more than this.
Right.
But then at some point,
Vegeta, he's not threatened by her physically. You know what I'm saying? So it just gets really bad.
Is it like, do you think it's just a person thing, a warrior thing? Is it a woman thing that he's not like stressed by her?
Well, when he was talking about 17 and 18, he talked to them both. Like when he first saw them, when they found the lab, he kind of both, shunned them immediately. So I don't know if it's a woman thing. I just think it's more of like he doesn't find them threatening physically.
They look young compared to where he's been. All this other cool stuff, but at some point, Android 18 is like, "Oh, I'm turning it on. Like I've had enough."
She got serious.
She, they say, "Listen, no one else can get involved in this fight. No one from the Z Warriors or will get involved." Which is enough, I guess, for everyone not to get involved. But I'm trying to find, I'm watching it as I'm doing it right now, and there's definitely this part where Vegeta tries his best to land a few blows, but she's just overpowering him too much, and then that one blow connects.
Where Vegeta's arm.
There's a punch to the gut, and then there's like
a
major like shot that kick to the arm.
The kick to the arm, where his arm just kind of like falls out of place completely. Elbow, shoulder, something. It was.
And they don't usually explore this in this. Yeah, they don't usually explore this. The humbling of Vegeta. There's now. I had on the first season,
screams out in agony, like it was real.
I had this discussion, and I haven't had it with you yet, I believe, but I had it with Carlos on the episode, and we talk about the humbling of Vegeta and how you never get to see Goku go through these type of things.
No,
but it's always Vegeta. I'm not sure, and I think that's why people respect the development of Vegeta a lot more than they do with Goku, because Vegeta's been through the dirt. Vegeta's been killed. Vegeta has killed himself. Vegeta has gotten his ass kicked. There's never an opportunity where it's just it's very rarely, unless he's fighting someone completely lower his level, where he gets to the point where he manages to get them back. He's always sort of on the other end of the ass whooping, and then he has to sort of learn this lesson from this. And that may just be because he's a bad guy at this point, and he's still, not to be trusted.
That's fair. Yeah, that's definitely fair. I mean, but Goku is just so much more, are you as strong as me?
Right.
Let's find out. And then Vegeta is like, there's absolutely nobody stronger than me. And then when there is somebody stronger, it's just so hard on him. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like Goku just like, oh, well, I'll just ascend again, and like, get stronger.
Vegeta's arm is completely out of his socket at this point.
It's hanging there.
It's just hanging, and it's the ultimate humbling because he lets out this. We don't usually see him screaming pain, so this is kind of fucking new, right? Like,
yeah, it was awesome, dude. That's why I was like, it just showed how much, like, how painful it was. Just as probably some frustration in that scream. Like it was probably just everything.
Yeah, and then we see Trunks. Trunks can't stand to watch his father get, his ass whooped. So he decides to get in, and then it's the entire situation they warned him about just don't get involved. So now Android 17 has to get involved. He at this point is the only person to get involved because now Android 16 is fixated on birds and nature.
Absolutely. Which from what 16 says, 17 is stronger than 18. That's something we gotta talk about as well, because they separate them with dialogue. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't flat out just say, this one's stronger than this one and this one, but he kind of separates them vocally.
I definitely think by virtue of just how things go in Dragon Ball Z and just like the linear chain of like fighting, you always fight sort of the weaker person first and then you ascend. So one can infer that, she definitely is weaker than him.
Which I'm sure also in the back of Vegeta's head, like, there's two of them. Not just she beating my ass, but I'm going to assume he can if she can.
And it's just, so he gets to this point, he's screaming out, Trunks tries to get involved, he comes down with his sword, Android 17 is like, nope. No thanks.
Yep, not happening.
Everyone tries to jump in, get involved at some point. Android 17, and I give him props for this because he gracefully kind of whoops their ass.
Yeah,
like it's kind of like elegant in the way he moves.
It was just like this is like, here's some warnings. I'm not gonna kill y'all, but I'm gonna beat your ass for coming in when I told you not to.
But pay attention to his movements. It's like very slow and methodical. Like he knows the pressure points or he knows the points to hit. Right. So he kind of gets in there and he just like hits Piccolo right in the gut. And I don't know, he grabs Tien.
You can like see his hand like go through Piccolo's entire body and just come back out. That was sick.
And I think he chokes Tien or something weird, or maybe he chokes Trunks or something. And he doesn't really like get in this fight with Trunks. He kind of just grabs Trunks and throws him into Vegeta, which is way more embarrassing than it probably had any right to be. So it's fucking insane at this point. Like they're single-handedly the androids that they believe from Trunks' time, and they're finding out firsthand that they are way stronger.
Yeah, I really advised like everybody to watch like those set of episodes, just leading up to like, please watch. It's so good.
Android 16, he becomes the silent sort of fighter in this thing, and he sort of appreciates nature. Does it? I'm trying to remember the first time watching this because I don't think I had any thoughts on Android 16 until he had his big moment against Cell.
Yeah, I think when I was a kid, I ultimately thought they were just saving him for like a Goku moment.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I didn't know what was going on, I was like, oh well, they're just saving him for Goku. I didn't really think anything of it because that was his mission until his character started progressing, and we'll get onto that later on. But
right. Android 16 is like, yo, it's either nature or Goku, and if we're done with nature, if we're done with nature right now, then we need to go find Goku. So they decide to find a car. And this is like an underlying thing of the androids that even occurs in Super at this point, and I think it's just their quest to be sort of normal.
It's almost like but it's definitely more advanced than being like people who are full human in the show. Like they show these different type of emotions for just wanting to do normal things, or even if it's just for the moment or a car ride to Goku's house. Like,
yeah,
like
I mean, they could easily fly to Goku's house. I mean, there's no doubt about it. But
be there in half an episode instead of 2.
Right. Well, it's more than 2 at this point. I mean, they really stall it out. They're driving this like I don't know if it's an ice cream truck or whatever it is, some sort of like large delivery
Scooby-Doo van.
And they're like, yo, we're in the open road. Like, this is what we're doing. We're going to go shopping too, actually. Like, we need to get new fits because Vegeta fucked yours up.
18 picked out a trash fit too. I just wanted to put that out there. Like,
I don't think he had much options, bro.
I know. And I guess that's the, the fun of it, of course. But like, there had to be something.
Is this what they think America is though?
I know, right?
Like cowboy,
like seriously, bro.
Cowboy cowgirl fits. Before they actually leave, Krillin tries to reason with them. Krillin pretty much says like, "Yo, you guys killed Dr. Gero. You don't even have to do this anymore. Like, you don't have to, go out and find Goku."
Mm-hmm.
But they dispute it in the sense it's just like, this is what we were supposed to do. Like, this is life for us. We don't have any other objectives. We don't know pretty much anything else at this point, but to sort of kill Goku.
Look, I don't know how much was already done, prior to the writing of this particular part and whatnot, but like, it's so crazy. Like just the foreshadowing.
Yeah.
Like Krillin's dialogue with the androids. You know what I'm saying?
The kiss.
Like the kiss, like stuff like that. It's so cool.
They just seemed completely different from the androids in Trunks' time, because the androids in Trunks' time were killers. They killed everything. They destroyed everything. But in this time, they just seem to be a lot more lax. We talked about this before, but they're a lot more lax.
All the clips from Trunks' time is like super like.
They're like getting a
super
thrill.
aggressive.
They get a high off of like killing shit, destroying shit, all this other shit.
Yes.
So now we get the aftermath of this. It's like I don't know. I'm not gonna say I'm not gonna sound like a tough guy and say I've never gotten my ass kicked before, but I've never got to the point where you have that like
I haven't, man. I haven't personally.
But it's like that post realization where you're just like, all right, what do we do from here?
Right.
That like that whatever.
Do you start like pondering your own pride and like what's next for me? You're like, all right, what's next?
Like have you seen Atlanta? Yeah. Where Ern tried to fight what's his face? The thug dude, I forgot his name. Oh my god. He tries to fight him at the end of the episode, like a few episodes ago, and he gets his ass kicked, and now he's just in the back seat. Like he wanted this, but now he's in the back seat.
Like, why did this happen to me?
Yeah, like
this is kind of my fault. Like, what else do I have to do? What's next for me?
Vegeta, everyone's got sensu beamed up at this point, and Vegeta's like, "Yo, fuck this. I'm out of here. I'm done. Like it's a wrap."
Much. Bless you.
Thank you. Vegeta's done. I'm out of here. I don't know what he's thinking at that point besides like, I hate everything. I can't believe I got my ass kicked in front of the bald guy.
Yeah, that's like that again.
I can't believe
Vegeta sees everything, all his surroundings, who he's fighting, against who's like that stuff is he's a prince.
He's
Prince
like,
of all
I can't
Saiyans.
believe. Listen, he had nightmares of not being able to turn Super Saiyan, but other people were. And he finally attains his goal. He finally reaches his plateau.
He's
He's
still
finally able to
trash.
talk all this shit, and he finds out he's still trash.
He's
Like, he
still
trained for
trash.
3 years, and it's just like, yo, this shit is not enough. So he goes, he's flying, he's screaming, he's had this existential crisis. He doesn't know what to do with his life. He's, screaming in the rain. He's blasting shit.
my favorite, some of my favorite things, man.
It's just
get all those gifts.
Yes, please. He's flying in the rain. He's not sure what to do at this point, but he's pondering a level beyond Super Saiyan.
Of course.
He knows it's there. He knows he's going to have to essentially reach it to beat them. He doesn't know how he's going to reach it at this point. So he's just kind of just chilling on the rock. It's just like he's just standing there. He doesn't know what to do. But meanwhile, back at the scene, Piccolo and them, they really don't. If Vegeta don't know what the fuck to do, they're really lost. Like, they have no chance against these androids. You see
of
Piccolo.
Course, Goku still he's still out of commission at this point.
Oh yeah, I forgot to say that in my 30 seconds.
Right.
Figure out what the fuck happened. Goku's out of commission. Goku had that heart virus. He's now in this, like, I guess it's a coma. I don't know how.
I mean, I think it's. Is he in his recovery state yet, or is he just he's just out of it?
I think he's just
like, because the medicine's been taken.
Medicine's been taken, but the man's been sleeping for days at this point. Like, he's been. I don't know if he's in a coma. Like, he looks like he's in a coma. I'm sure he's losing brain cells.
Again, Yamcha should not have been there for however long he was there. I'm not getting over that.
Piccolo is just like trying to figure out, what the fuck do we do now? What do we do now? And he gets mad because he can't beat the androids. And he decides, I'm gonna fly off. Like, fuck this. I'm gonna do something I have to do, and don't follow me. He gets real testy about this too.
Yeah, bro.
Everybody's
on edge. Everybody's on edge. The main guy that they thought had some kind of chance didn't. Goku's still out, so Piccolo's out here,
de facto leader at this point, because Vegeta's gone.
He's stressed. He's stressed out. He's like, yo, I gotta go do this. Nobody come with me. Trust me.
He flies to the lookout, and at least Krillin, I don't know. He
figured it out.
He figured it out, really. And I'm like, bruh, can you read minds? Like, even in Super now, Krillin is kind of like that great, like, commentary guy to add, like, layers to any conversation. Like, he's the one describing why Goku feels the type of way he does when he turns.
It was a bit lazy. I think it was lazy. It's like I think they just had to tell us why Piccolo was going there as fast as possible. So they just gave it to Krillin real quick.
So Krillin just describes, hey, have you seen what direction he's going? And I'm just like,
I'm like, what?
Okay,
no,
sure. No, I mean, there's a lot of things in that direction, my guy.
Right.
He's heading to the lookout. Oh shit! Shout out to us. He's headed to this is our first mention of the lookout on the lookout. He's heading to the lookout because he wants to fuse with Kami.
And we're like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Okay.
Everyone's like, fuse with Kami? What are you talking about? Like, they haven't been. I don't think anyone's hip to it.
It was weird.
So they do this nice little montage of just like, yo, Piccolo and Kami were two people, and Goku killed Piccolo's dad, and then Piccolo's dad spit out Piccolo, and then Piccolo came.
Yeah.
And, they've always had this beef. There's always had this beef. It's like, pretty much at this point, it's like Meek Mill, Drake, 50 Cent Game. Like, they don't fuck with each other, but they kind of have to fuck with each other at this point.
Piccolo's wild disrespectful in front of him, too.
Come here, old man. Like, all this other shit.
Damn, dude.
And Kami's just like, yo, you need to relax.
Man, but Kami was acting out a little bit. Like, we're getting into Piccolo getting there.
Yeah. Let's talk about it,
bro. Okay, so that whole situation was like Piccolo kind of they both know what's going on. Mm-hmm. So Piccolo's like, look, man, this is what we got to do. And I really did not like how Kami was kind of like, let me think about it. I'm like, bro, like and Piccolo kind of.
But it's a large decision to make. Like, you fuse, there's no Dragon Balls, there's no Guardian of Earth, there's no anything, there's no one to look over shit.
My man Piccolo was like, look, You take as much time as you want then, old man, but best believe people are gonna die in this time span that you're
These niggas
thinking
were
about it.
sweating. These
Yeah.
dudes were arguing.
And then Popo is on his knees like, don't do it, please.
Don't do it. We need a guardian. What's wrong with you? Piccolo, why are you
had
even
more
here?
selfish reasons. Popo had more selfish reasons. He's being selfish, man.
They're talking. They're just like, I need to see how everything plays out first. There's no way I'm just like rushing into fusing with you. I don't trust you. I don't like the cut of your jib. Like, I don't know. I've been wearing this long tee for a minute. You wearing the little, shoulder thing. I don't know if I'm really ready for that type of responsibility as of yet. But it's not going. It doesn't go down that easy. And we'll get back to that because I guess in terms of chronological order, we should talk about how
yeah, for sure.
Trunks and Krillin decide, hey, we're gonna go to Goku's crib and we gotta move Goku out of here. We're gonna fly and beat them there because they're not flying, they're driving.
Yeah. So
somehow they knew that. Somehow they knew that. I didn't know.
Well,
there's no mention of them actually seeing them drive, but it was like, yo, we gotta reach there before them.
Did Krillin see them go away? And
Krillin saw them fly away.
You're right.
And
did Krillin hear the conversation? Like, you're right. That doesn't make any sense.
Maybe they just assume like, yo, they don't know where Goku's crib is. Like,
no matter what, we'll get there first.
Yeah, no matter what, we'll get there first.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is.
So they fly there. Boom, boom, boom. Gohan at some point is still like with Yajirobe and like Bulma. He drops them off at Capsule Corp. He goes flying too. They meet up all at Goku's crib. And they're like, yo, we got to get Goku out of here. The androids are coming. And everyone's just wondering what the fuck happened. So they move him over to Master Roshi's crib. And during this time, I guess they're flying in that ship and they kind of discover time travel. And time travel is a big theme in this series. Well, not in this series, actually. It's a big theme in this sort of arc. And then it gets even weirder as you get to Super.
It's already confusing as it is. But they definitely do things to make it way more confusing.
So in this sort of, they discover where Trunks is explaining like, yo, why don't we go back in time? I can go back in time and before the androids are awakened and we can do that. And then they kind of discover, I guess Gohan kind of discovers, yeah, but wouldn't that affect that time instant and not this one? Like, we'd still be going through all the shit that we're going through. But in that time, like, so they discover this alternate time theory, multiverse time theory, that there is not just one linear time, timeline. There's actually multiple timelines, and they're all created. There's infinite amount of timelines, or at least there's infinite amount of time. See, this shit is confusing.
Yeah, it really is, bro. And I'm surprised it took the youngest kid in the room to be like, what are y'all talking about? That makes no sense.
There's infinite amount of timelines in this entire thing. And when you go to another timeline, you actually disrupt it. Like, you don't, not even merely because Trunks is wondering like, yo, did me destroying Frieza fuck up this timeline? Mm-hmm. But just by merely visiting it, you fuck up the timeline. Like,
right. It doesn't matter. You're somewhere you shouldn't be.
There's somewhere where,
you already exist.
There's somewhere where Zamasu is looking down and he's just like, I hate this so much.
Right.
I hate Mortal so much. It's not even his universe and he tight.
Plotting.
Let's see what we got here. There's alternate timelines. Oh my god. I want to go through the alternate timelines at some point during this entire episode, but
it's just crazy.
We head back to the lookout, and at the lookout, Kami's like, yo, I sense a disturbance, and this shit ain't the androids, nigga. Like, I feel it in my bones. Like, there's something wrong.
Way, way worse.
There's an evil that is more threatening to Earth than either one of those androids. And he says, because of that, I will fuse with you. And, it's the whole, put your hand on my chest.
Yeah. This man Piccolo was like, what did he say? He said, we're keeping my body.
My body. He was like, yo, yeah, I'm not even going to hold you. My body is too.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, it is what it is. Do you feel like Piccolo looked a little bit older when he did fuse with Kami? Did he? I feel like he did.
I think they sharpened him up. They gave him a
little more lines under the eyes or something.
Yeah, his. I feel like his eyebrow area is thicker. You know what I'm saying? Like not that, you know how they give you the muscles in the dam just to separate the eyebrows from a piece of the face. He gets a bunch of different like sharpened looks. My man, he's still Piccolo. I think his ears get longer.
Is crying. He is unconsolable at this point. He has lost the only other nigga on the lookout.
Popo's selfish, man. He's selfish, bro. It's like that's all I got out of that, man. I was like, this man is so selfish, bro. It's like, calm down.
Well, Piccolo's feeling himself. It's like he got a cut. It's like he got a new pair of Jordans. Like it's like he got an ultimate new fit on. He's like, yo, this is power, nigga. This is peak. And I just remember this very clunky phrase they used, but Krillin used it. He was like, if Piccolo and Kami ever joined together, they wouldn't become a Super Saiyan. They would become a super Namek.
Yeah.
And I was like,
I cringed, bro. I
was like, we didn't test that out.
I wonder if that's something they like. You think they were trying to go with that and just see how it felt to the consumer? Because I didn't hear that term again.
Like, no, because you're never gonna hear it ever again.
It was terrible, bro.
They look the same. He's like, I am Namekian without a name. He was saying all this cool shit.
Yeah, like
okay.
Time out.
Man, it's Wakanda.
Yeah. Time out. This is really funny though. Like, they really did like give us clues, like as to if Piccolo was about to take this different look or like just
different, just a different turn in this sort of like being from like a secondary like same character to like, okay, we about to upgrade him to the man.
You old fool! You actually enjoy keeping me in suspense like this, don't you? I want you to tell me exactly what's going on down there. Start talking. Well? No, I won't. Look, old man, I have no intention on asking you again. Now I need to know what's happening on Earth.
Yes, but telling you is pointless now.
What? Why?
Because when you and I become one, you will know for yourself everything that's happened.
Huh? No, Kami. So you finally come to your senses. I was beginning to wonder how much longer I'd have to wait.
We must hurry before there are any more victims on Earth.
I'm ready, but let's get one thing straight. When we combine, we use my body, understand?
Agreed. It will be so. Your body is much younger and more powerful. I understand. Our union will make you more powerful, Piccolo, and you will obtain my vast knowledge. I hope you will use these new powers wisely.
Goodbye, Kami. I'll miss you. Please be careful. No longer am I Kami or Piccolo. I am the Namek who has long since forgotten his name.
And then like 20 minutes later, he was Piccolo again, and they just didn't mention anymore.
But for a good in the show for like a good 3 days, he's the strongest man on Earth, bro. For a good 3 days,
it was hilarious.
For a good 3 days, Piccolo is like literally the strongest person on Earth. Like, for like a good half of a week, a good 72 hours on a good week.
That really did trip me out, man. I was like, why are they? He's a super Namek. I was like, oh, they about to go with this super Namek.
Super Namek. Listen, we got more toys to sell. They didn't even bother to make him a different color. They didn't give him new fits. Nothing. He's just
Yeah, they could have at least like changed like his. You know how some of the Nameks have like different muscle colors.
Yeah,
they could have at least changed his muscle colors or like the color of his pants or like some maybe I don't know, man. It was just hilarious.
I am the Namekian who has long forgotten his name.
Yeah, dude,
and I'm just like, bro,
dude.
Okay,
that was so corny. I was like, all right, and it just never goes anywhere else after.
Oh my god, they made him feel like he was like he was the person who was going to like free the slaves. Like he was the person who was just like, yo, I have overcome the, constantly being pushed down by my Saiyan brethren, and now I'm here to overcome Piccolo.
I'm finally on their level.
King of Wakanda.
Man, it was very like it was too much. It was just too much. They were just I get what they're trying to do. They were just trying to highlight Piccolo's fact that he has new power and blah 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 blah.
They had to give somebody the power. They weren't giving it to Krillin.
He's human.
They weren't giving it to. I don't know if they would have gave it to Trunks at that point, but I think they had plans for Trunks, evidently.
Yeah.
So Piccolo's the next best thing. Like, if you're an Earthling in Dragon Ball Z, you're pretty fucked.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you're an alien, unless you come from some sort of planet, unless you're some sort of villain, like you're not gonna get much stronger than what you already are. You may get a new move. Yeah.
That's kind of cool. It looks cool, but you're not gonna get much stronger than what you already are.
And now we have sort of the introduction of the man of the hour, the Cell, like the introduction of Cell.
Yeah.
And how the series completely shifts, like the tone completely shifts.
Yeah, he changed the culture. Cell changed the culture of Dragon Ball Z.
Bulma gets a report that there is a vehicle, a capsule cork vehicle found somewhere in the woods. This is this big thing that they found. They took a picture of it, they sent it to her. Mm-hmm. And you can even sense like the theme starts to change. It becomes this thriller mystery.
Yeah.
Sort of way they indulge in this entire thing. They get it. He's like, yo, even the way they end the episode beforehand, like Bulma is about to get a fax that changes everything.
Yeah, Cell. The introduction of like Cell is very eerie. Like I guess they want it to be fearful. They want it to be a fearful situation.
They didn't do a thing where he like shows up and starts immediately blowing shit up. And they're trying to figure out what happened. This is a very nuanced introduction in the fact that now Trunks has discovered, because Trunks and Gohan go meet Bulma where the site is, where the time machine is, and Trunks is like, I'm the only person with a time machine. Like it's impossible for someone else to have a time machine. He pulls it out. It's the same time machine. So now they kind of just figure out like, yo, this is kind of weird. This is kind of fucked up. Like, what the fuck is happening?
What they saw hope written on it in Bulma's handwriting, so they knew it was the same one.
So it's they try to figure it out. They're like, yo, something. Gohan's an extra mode. It's like, yo, this blast like it came from the inside.
Gohan's doing great, guys.
He's having the time of his life, man. He's like, I'm away from the books.
Yeah, like he's really doing great using context clues throughout this little part.
There's this egg cup shit. There's just like, what the fuck happened here?
Yeah.
They try to discover it. There's moss all over. They walk over and see this giant like bug shell shit. I would have been freaked the fuck out. I would have been like, yo, fuck this. I'm out. Like, this is a wrap.
Like when they find his like his shedding?
Yeah. I would have been like, nah, I'm out.
That's enough.
This is the biggest shit I've ever seen.
This and it was like Pokemon. Still wet. Trunks was like, it's still Trunks put his hand in it.
He definitely stuck his hand in there and was just like, it's still wet. I'm like, my nigga, what if your hand fell off?
He's close. Bulma's like, what?
They're making all these type of this weird mystery ass fucking conclusions. Like, it's still warm. He must be close. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, I had no idea what was going on. As a kid, obviously, I saw things online, but like,
I knew the final form of Cell. I literally never saw the first form of Cell.
Oh.
I literally never saw him. I knew the final form, and I was always just like, oh, this is what he looks like in the end, because this is what they're promoting, because Perfect Cell is a beautiful looking motherfucking monster.
Yeah, it's one of the greatest like visually, it's like his perfect form it's really like just done so well. Color, size, all that.
His first form, yeah.
Yeah, first form is it's ugly, man.
So they're like, yo, we're out. I got to do some tests. I'm gonna lock up this, time machine. It's just fucking weird. All this extra shit. And then there's a news report. Suddenly they're watching the news now. They got to see where the androids is at. Everyone's you can't sense their power levels. Might as well turn on fucking.
It's the news. The news comes in handy.
Yeah. So they might as well turn on the news. And there's like, oh, there's terror at Gingertown. Everyone's getting, the population of Gingertown is suddenly disappearing. No one knows what's going on. I don't know. I forgot how Piccolo finds out. No, because Kami knows.
Yeah, Kami.
So he heads to Gingertown immediately. Like Piccolo is just like, yo, something's going on. Something's weird. He heads to the city. Everyone's clothes is all over the place. There's no people left.
No people, just clothes.
It's
pants, jeans, shoes. They're just perfectly laid down in the street everywhere.
And it becomes this like very like thriller thing because you hear like the footsteps or you hear something like you hear screams and then you don't hear screams and you hear footsteps and then you don't hear footsteps and then he's looking around. He doesn't know what's going on.
At last we meet, face to face.
And he's dragging a body.
Yeah, dragging a body.
He's dragging a body. There's this umbrella that comes in out of nowhere. It's just like, see, this is that creepy shit they want to do. There's an umbrella that literally rolls out of this alleyway.
It's one of those scenes I want to see in live action. Like when they ever get to a point and it's getting done live action wise, like that would be a hell of a scene.
Speaking of that, sidebar, should we go through that live action?
Yeah, we do. Listen, I've been waiting for you to ask me this. When this movie came out, obviously I was hyped because it was just one of those things. I wasn't hyped to the point where I was like, oh, this is going to be great. I wasn't like, I didn't have great hopes. It was just something I wanted to see because of what it was. So yeah,
right.
Yeah, we definitely should because it's funny and it's not good. But if you're,
I've never actually seen the movie.
You should see it. Now you should definitely see it, bro.
I've never actually seen. I know what goes on, and I know how bad it is, and I know the cast of characters in the movie.
You have to watch it.
But we get running back to the Cell saga. Yeah. Cell's dragging this body of this like rich guy, and the rich guy's like, "Yo, I'll give you money. Like, I'll give you anything. Just save me from him." And Piccolo's just like, "I'm not getting anywhere close to that nigga."
Right.
And Cell does some, I don't know if it's boss shit, but there's certainly something. My nigga he stands there, he looks at Piccolo, and he jams his tail into his back anyway, and literally drinks.
I was thinking about Cell's, just what he is, and like, my guess is he must be draining the insides and just drinking it up because he doesn't do the same thing with the androids later on. So
no, but it's like, what does he get? Is it just the insides? Is it like their soul or essence or power?
Well, yeah, because their skin's even gone after he's done.
Yeah.
So I don't know, bro. I don't know. They don't really give us much. They don't give us much about that.
So Cell is there, and he's like, "Oh, you're Piccolo," and everyone's just like, "How the fuck do you know my name?" And he begins to sense various power levels. Everyone's just like, "Yo, I sense there's two Piccolos. Like, what's going on here?"
My man Gohan looked upstairs, make sure Goku was there.
My dad, what is he doing there? And just like Goku is just like asleep. He's like, "Yo, I sense my dad. I sense all these type of different people." He's like, "Oh, there's Frieza, what is he doing here? Like,
right.
Niggas is like, oh, Frieza, what the fuck? It's revealed that he hasn't actually garnered the DNA or any of the things from actual humans. He only really has Saiyans and Frieza, which is kind of fucked up. And maybe Piccolo.
Yeah.
There's Piccolo too, but
Piccolo.
he's just like, he deemed like Krillin, Tia, and Yamcha. He's like, nah, I don't need any of that loser shit. I don't need no loser in my DNA.
Any of that. Yeah,
I don't need no trepidation in my DNA. Like, listen, I need. Go ahead.
Cell doing Wolfgang Fist should have been fire, man.
I mean, he might have gotten it off. It might have been Cell's move after that.
It would have been fire, man.
It might have just been Cell's move now. He would have called something else, Cell Fang Fist or some shit like that.
That would have been so dope, man.
Cell absorbs the citizen, he drinks them up, and he raises his power level, and they're about to go fight. And then Piccolo gets to test out his new body, and this nigga is doing like, he's spinning,
he's confident.
He's doing kicks, he's doing. He doesn't have his armored clothes off. Like, my man is like flipping, doing kicks. He's like testing this shit out. He's like, oh, I'm souped up. I'm good. Like, my body, this new body, like, he's like, and Cell's just like, yo, you're not Piccolo. What are you? And he's like, I don't even remember what he said. Probably some corny shit.
Probably some, I don't even know who I am.
He's like, you don't need to worry who I am. Some shit like that. I forgot what he actually says. Cell gets the advantage at some point, and he manages to like suck the juice from like Piccolo's arm.
Yeah.
And
when he did that, the arm did start to completely shrink and go away. So maybe Cell is literally taking every piece of the body when he is doing that.
Yeah, it's some weird atrophy shit. Yeah. Like, it's just like he's just
a vacuum.
Yeah, so he's sucking it up, and he gets Cell arm, and Piccolo does his thing. I think all villains. This is like every villain. This is like the key to like every like overconfident villain. Piccolo got one arm at this point, and he doesn't know what to do. He's like, yo, obviously I'm defeated.
Right.
Like, there's no way I can come back after this shit. I literally lost an arm. How am I supposed to fight with one arm? Like, it's not like I'm Piccolo or something. And he was like, but since I got this one arm and it's about to be done, at least explain to me why you're here, where you come from, where your family stay, where your brother stay, where your sister stay.
Piccolo's like, just tell me everything you know, because you're about to kill me anyways. Plus, secretly, I need time for something. And then, of course, of course, Cell's like, all right, so here's everything.
Here's everything. So Dr. Dro's been watching you with that bug shit over there. Like, he's been watching you. He's been watching you for mad years, actually. Like, he watches you when you're asleep. He knows when you're awake. He knows when you're bad, good, whatever. Like, he's been watching you. So Piccolo destroys that. He's like, I don't need none of this shit anymore. He destroys that. He says he's been watching you.
All the things that they notice. I'm sorry. All the things that they notice, and they have not noticed that fly.
Yeah.
For the past however long.
Listen, they're not noticing that shit. I don't know. Is it? I haven't noticed it. Shit. I've been there for all of the shit and I haven't seen it. I think Cell, does he explain that he comes from the time machine as of yet? I'm not sure what.
I'm pretty sure. Well, yeah, I think he did. I think he talked about they showed a cutscene of him like blasting out of it, or was that later?
No, that was later. He explains, like, at the end of the day, he eventually does 100% explain like where he comes from. He explains it to Trunks. Yeah. He explains it to Trunks. Okay. I know he explains it to Trunks. I'm
watching like 3 different Dragon Ball franchises right now.
Oh yeah. He explains it to Trunks. He states he is an android created by Dr. Dro and comes from 24 years in the future. Piccolo asks, how could he? Because he destroyed the lab, and Cell says there's a computer created under the lab. So you niggas thought you destroyed the lab,
right,
but you actually didn't. We in the underground bunker shit. This is some like Power Ranger shit.
All I know is if I'm a Saiyan or somebody with supernatural powers and there's a situation like that, I'm destroying the entire area. Like,
Oh, you're going. If it was Vegeta, that should have been blown up. Big crater shit, you know.
Yeah, he would have made sure there was nothing left.
He says when all these important battles on Earth were going on, microcell extractors took DNA from Goku, Vegeta, Frieza, King Cole, and Piccolo. That's really it. He says he came back in time and he was made. Oh, he came back in time by killing Trunks in the future. So this is where we learn that there is an alternate timeline, because there's an alternate timeline. Not only there's an alternate timeline where there's a different set of androids, but there's a different timeline where he kills Trunks and Trunks doesn't actually come back. And it's because Trunks managed to find a way to deactivate with Android 17 and 18 in some sort of timeline. Mm-hmm. So we'll discuss that maybe at the end or something. He turned back into his larval state, but managed to also like push all the buttons and shit at the same time.
Dude, it's some kind of animal. The fact that he is evolution.
Like, yeah, he's devolving, but he's same time he's like, oh, let me push this button to make sure the hood closes, and let me push this button to make sure like we get the fuck out of here. And he's like, I didn't really set the coordinates. I didn't really set the coordinates. Trunks had all the coordinates set out. Right. I just really closed the lid and showed up where he is. So just to recap everybody on this time travel shit, there was a Trunks that was supposed to come 3 years before Trunks first came.
Actually came, right.
And he was supposed to tell them, I don't know when they would have, maybe before Frieza or something.
Yeah, I mean, you say 3 years. It was that might have been some time after Frieza, too.
It would have been, I don't know. I think it was before Frieza.
It'd be maybe some time before Frieza.
But also maybe before the Saiyans.
It would have been
before the Saiyans?
That far back?
It might have been that far back. It would have been before this. It would have been like after in Dragon Ball, Trunks showed up. And just started like playing with shit. So that Trunks was supposed to come back 3 years before the actual Trunks came back and decide, hey, I'm gonna tell you how to destroy these androids that are coming like 6 years from now.
Right.
And he never got to because he died. But Cell ends up coming back. He sails his time machine. He lands in this timeline where the androids are alive, and he's like, listen, I need both androids 17 and 18 to complete myself. This is the grand design that Dr. Gero had. And you know, he reveals his purpose.
Things start to finally come in shape in, like, as far as 17 and 18's you know, just their story and what they belong to, and things start to take shape. It's like, wow, you know, it's just ironic. Trunks comes. He comes to warn us about these two androids. He comes. There's two other androids, and the other two that he talked about, and an extra one.
Right.
And then we find out that there's something stronger than all of them that needs 17 and 18 to be the strongest thing in the world.
It's so crazy, and it's so layered because, and at that point now, Android 17 and 18 are no longer the main villains of the series.
No, that's it.
It's so,
as a matter of fact, when you see them next, they're being protected heavy by the Z Warriors. So.
Right, pretty much. The rest of the Z Fighters show up. I mean, Trunks and Krillin show up at least. Trunks and Krillin show up, and Cell's like, I got to get out of Dodge.
Basically. Yeah, Cell is like also a very underrated, like, funny character. Every single one of his evolutions are like, he's just very smug.
Right. He probably gets that from King Cold because there's literally nothing else he can get from that.
Yo, is him having King Cold traits weird to you?
Yes.
Considering we know nothing about
King Cold. Like, I'm assuming he gets a sense of humor from King Cold. That's literally all I
maybe that's what it is. I never thought about that.
So maybe that's it.
Because you know what? Now that you say that, it's actually really funny because Perfect Cell does have that same.
Ooh, yes.
Yeah, you're right, dude.
He's that King Cold character. Listen, he didn't take any powers or moves or anything. My nigga took sense of humor from King Cold.
Because they mention it. They're like, and King Kong, I'm like, what's that got to do with anything? I don't even know what he does.
He got horns? Like, what does he do? Like, what?
Right.
The rest of the Z Fighters show up. Cell's like, I gotta get out of Dodge. I'm gonna use the solar flare, and everyone's like, yo, how could he use the solar flare? He's not Tien or Krillin. And they manage to get blinded, and Cell escapes. He escapes. He's like, so now they're on the chase for another android, and Cell's on foot, so it's kind of fucked up now. So he's like, he's running. He's not flying because he doesn't want them to sense him. He's not doing anything, but he's on foot. He's on to the next town.
Cell can be sensed.
Yeah, he can
he's
be
an
sensed.
android, but he can be sensed.
Because he's a biological android, I think,
yeah,
at this point.
He's a Namekian, he's a Saiyan, and whatever Frieza's race is. It's called Frieza race.
Is it?
Actually. You know, on
Dragon Ball Wiki.
On Dragon Ball Xenoverse. On Xenoverse, the game, you know, you create your own player. And when you go to create all your players, there's a spot for Frieza race. That's what they call it. So,
Frieza race.
Maybe one day we'll get an actual, you know.
You think they'll give us a backstory on Frieza?
I think they should. We discussed this. I think they should, man. Really
but then at that point, that kind of like you become empathetic to that's how I feel. I believe in terms of just a fully fleshed out human being. It's kind of like what they did with Jiren.
It depends how aggressive his family is. What if they're just like all just terrible people?
But his brother hates him. His brother hates his father because he babies his brother so much. And I'm talking about Cooler.
But I like that though. There's a nice dynamic.
It's a nice family. Do we see Frieza? Does Frieza have a mom? Who knows? Like, you know, this is some weird. This could become some Avengers shit. Like,
hopefully we see.
Piccolo shows up. Vegeta shows up, and he's like, "What the fuck is going on here, Namek? How did you get so fucking strong?"
Right.
I can't. I'm
He's
not.
borderline pissed about it.
He's tight. He's like, "You're nothing but a mere Namek." Which is not a near Namekian. You're nothing but a mere Namek. How could you rise to the thing of like, you know, Saiyans?
Yeah.
So Piccolo fills him in, and Vegeta's like, again, like, so not only have these two androids whipped my ass, but there's something stronger that has to absorb them to become even stronger. Mm-hmm. And at some point, Vegeta's like, yo, let him absorb them. I need to see. And I'm like, everyone's just like, no, my G, like, no. Please do not. We're not trying to have this happen. We have a plan.
Makes sense. I'm like, why are you suggesting this?
We have a plan. We're going to destroy 17 and 18, and then we're going to get Cell afterwards. Like, this is the plan we have. But
which was a great plan. That's it. That's the one. It's like this is the only way.
That's it. At this point, I mean, yeah. At this point, it's the only plan. Yeah. It's Trunks and Krillin go to the underground bunker where, you know, Dr. Troll's lab is and start pew-pewing all over the place.
It was a funny scene.
They go in the lab. They're like, oh, shit. You know, it's real sciencey in there. Test tubes, all this other extra shit he probably shouldn't be doing. And
Krillin's just happy to be there.
He's Trunks. Just happy to be there. He's really just like, yo, Krillin destroyed Cell. So, you know. He gets a notch in his thing. Krillin destroys it. They go around. They find the plans for some weird toaster, but more importantly, the Android 17 and 18. They find the plans for them, and they decide, let's blow all this shit up and let's get out of here. So you know they pew all over the place, and they end up destroying everything. So the Cell in the current timeline has been destroyed.
By the way, the pew pew thing is funny because that's exactly what it was. It was like the most generic pew pew. Everything just blows up.
It becomes funnier. I'm telling you. Watch this Dragon Ball Z abridged thing.
I know. I got too caught up watching Dragon Ball.
It's so funny. They literally go pew pew.
I want you to watch Dragon Ball over again so bad, dude.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna watch Dragon Ball.
I really do because I actually really like it just from a you know. Comedic standpoint, it's pretty good.
It's the most anime out of all, probably.
Absolutely.
I've paused framed this. I'm actually going through all the YouTube clips, looking at all this shit while we do.
But I do need to watch. I do need to watch.
Oh yeah, 100%. There is a blueprint that says, well, we find out the names. We find out the actual names of Android 17 and 18, and this is something that I think Akira Toriyama reveals in an interview, like all after the fact, that their real names, Android 17's real name is Lapis, and Android 18's real name is Lazuli, which is not the sexiest names ever. And I think
No, not
Android
at all.
17, I think 17 and 18 are fire names now.
Yeah, I just 17, 18. Sometimes I remember sometimes in Super they called them number, like number 8, number
Yeah,
17. I
I
don't
think
like
that's,
that.
isn't that what they did in don't they do that in the actual like Japanese? I don't think they call them actual androids. I think they call them number. Maybe, I don't know. Let us know.
Yeah, let us know.
Let's see. They destroy Cell and they take the plan for Bulma. And it's like, Bulma, use your brains. Figure out a way how to destroy these niggas.
Once again, Bulma's a solid, a solid Z warrior. You would say she's always. I mean, she always has.
She's worthy.
The
She's
right
worthy.
thing
Listen,
going on.
where they don't have even a quarter of the brain capacity she fills the gap between.
Man, I'm gonna take it one step further, bro.
What's up?
Man. Would Vegeta even be able to be around all these people if it wasn't for Bulma? Who really changed Vegeta?
You got a point there.
I'm just saying, bro. I'm just saying.
There's this, you know what? And we're getting to the sort of the last episode of it. The intro to episode 146 is probably my favorite. It's the one with the narrator and the empty town. It's real horror thriller movie-esque.
Okay. Yeah.
Where they're just like, there's a city. No one's there. You know, they play around with some shit. Like they're playing around with like the audio, and I'll splice the audio in.
Yeah, because they don't do it like that often.
No.
It's Krillin. How did you know I was here? I could smell you from a mile away.
So they do like, there's a city, but no one's there. There's TVs and no one's watching, blah, blah, blah. And you see this guy shows up with a machine gun and he's just shooting Cell. He's like, fuck out of here. Like, you won't take my family, blah, blah, blah. Cell kills him anyway. And then there's these two girls that are just on the run and, you know, they trip. Boom. Of course they trip. It's a horror movie. They always fucking trip. And Cell's just like, yo, I'm about to get you. And then Krillin is the hero. Krillin comes out of nowhere. It's like super Krillin at this point. Like, dun, da, da, da.
He fast too, man.
He saves the girls. He puts them down. He's like, oh, it's kind of cute. I'm like, relax, my guy. You're on a mission.
Yeah, dude, that was...
You're getting carried away. Like, so relax. Weird. So they have this entire fight thing. Krillin does this great, like, American charge, like Captain America charging star type shit, where you like shoulders selling. It's a great scene. Trust me. It's like the first like 5 minutes of the episode, and it's a great moment for Krillin because it shows that he's not completely useless, but at the end he gets his ass whooped by Cell.
It's just them separating him from Yamcha even more. That's all it is.
It is what it is. And they're fighting on a plane. They fight on the wing of the plane, and like Cell punches the shit out of Krillin and he flies through the plane.
It kills thousands, hundreds of people.
Cell lands on the wing and he's like, yo, I'm about to wash you like you never been washed before. And then he sees like Tien and Piccolo shows up and he's like, gotta go. And, you know, Tien and Piccolo's like, yo, we just had him. I'm like, my nigga, continue flying. Why are you stopping?
Y'all can still go get him, bro. It's like y'all all can fly.
Oh my God. This episode is notable. Episode 146 of this. because Goku finally wakes up.
Finally, everybody can breathe and realize that everything's gonna be okay.
Everyone is just like, the title is called "Our Hero Awakens" because big Goku moves in this thing.
Mm-hmm.
Goku,
progression happens immediately too.
I like the calmness of it. I like the calmness. It's not like a call to action immediately.
Yeah.
Goku says, "I could hear everything that was going on in my dreams," which is like kind of lazy story writing for like, we didn't want to catch this nigga up, and we don't want to catch you guys up for like the third time. Like
that's it. There's no reason for somebody to explain this to him again. They could have just went to another cutscene where they're like, and that's what happened.
Yeah, Master Roshi tells him. Someone briefs him.
Yeah.
There's a phone call. He picks up.
Right.
Goku's out. He's shooting beams into waves, and he's just like, "Yo," he's been thinking of like, how am I gonna get stronger than a Super Saiyan? Because I'm gonna have to defeat everything that's been going on thus far.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe we I don't want to step on episode 147 too much. I mean, we only sold 146, but in the next episode, he finally meets up with Vegeta, and they have the same idea, and things happen.
Yeah, things happen. Cool things happen. Changes again. The franchise takes a nice turn.
Plot holes that I had in this entire thing. I listed a few plot holes.
Mm-hmm.
My main one that I discovered literally like 2 months ago was, how did Cell know that Trunks killed Frieza? And if he came from the timeline where Goku killed Frieza. But then I learned that there's another timeline where apparently another Trunks comes back and kills Frieza. So it's a timeline that's similar to the current timeline, except for the fact that Cell kills that Trunks.
Oh, okay.
All right, so it's kind of weird. It's a Well, no, he doesn't kill that Trunks. That Trunks, whatever, fuck. Apparently,
so another Trunks in another timeline comes and kills Frieza, but then Cell kills Trunks.
So I'm gonna go through these alternate timelines because I think we need to get everybody up to speed as we're closing out this episode on pretty much everything that's going on. There's multiple timelines. There are timelines, not explored in Super, well, more explored in Super actually. In Super, there's we don't learn until Super that all this time traveling shit is actually illegal.
Yeah.
And if Jaco was here at the time, everyone would get locked up. And
you can kind of tell why it should be illegal. You see how much damage it does.
It's doing an incredibly amount of damage to the timeline. There is, let's see, timeline 1 is the timeline we're in. That we get Super, we get Dragon Ball, we get GT, we get all the good and the bad that has come with everything. Cell arrives in this time from the, it's the timeline that we're currently exploring. We're exploring timeline 1. Everything that happens in the show that we recap happens in timeline 1. Gohan becoming all this other shit, all this other shit.
Right.
Timeline 2 is the future Trunks timeline, where the Trunks from the future comes from. And the one that we'll go over, the timeline we'll pretty much go over in the next episode, when we talk about the history of Trunks. We talk about that dark film, that dark piece of cinema.
I like it. I like dark film.
In full.
From anime.
So we go through that, and that is where, in that timeline, Frieza and King Cole are defeated by Goku. But Goku dies of a heart virus. I'm assuming it's because of traveling through space or something. I don't know. Dr. Gero activates 17 and 18. They kill all the Z fighters, so the Dragon Balls are gone. Gohan becomes a Super Saiyan, and he tries to fight the androids for 13 years, blah, blah, blah. We'll get into this next episode. Everything we'll get into the next episode, blah, blah, blah. Now, Timeline 3. Timeline 3, it says, this timeline follows a similar path to Timeline 1 and 2. Though notably changes on future Trunks' second return to the past. So the one where he returns when he sees Android 19 and 20. He's talking about that return.
Okay. Okay.
Future Trunks return with the android's blueprints from Timeline 4, which we have not gotten into yet. And the androids were destroyed in that time, in Timeline 4. So he's coming to Timeline 3 to show them how to defeat these androids, I think. In this timeline, Frieza and King Cole are defeated by the Trunks that shows up. So all the shit still happens. Dr. Gero activates, except 19 and 18 doesn't happen. Goku dies of a heart disease in this one. Dr. Gero activates 17 and 18. Gohan tries to kill him. Gohan kills Trunks. We get into that in the second movie. Except that Trunks goes back in time to Timeline 4. He returns after killing Frieza. To give Goku to blah blah blah. Trunks goes back in time again to help the Z Fighters in Timeline 4 combat the androids. Trunks returns.
He's just fucking everything up. That's all I hear right now.
Trunks returns from the past and destroys the androids using their emergency stop circuit. So they take the button that Bulma develops,
right?
And
and they actually use it.
And they actually use it. So they don't, because Krillin is dead.
Right. Yeah.
Because Krillin is dead, they actually go through the plan of using this actual button. Trunks is now dead, and apparently the same Trunks is dead in this timeline because the cell that we know that comes into Timeline 1 that Piccolo is fighting is from this Timeline 3.
Okay, so that's right. Okay, that makes sense.
So he's from that timeline where they found a way to stop the androids, but he isn't strong enough to stop Cell, and Cell kills him. The Saiyan race is over. Everything is dead. Blah blah blah. Goku Black never shows up. Or maybe he does. Who knows? Timeline 4 is an unseen timeline. Timeline 4 has the same events as Timeline 1. Until during the Android saga, where the Z Fighters managed to defeat the androids because Cell from another timeline never came to interfere, meaning that this was a timeline only altered by Trunks from Timeline 3. So
Timeline 4 is ideal.
Yes,
they killed 17 and 18. Did Goku die?
It says Goku, Gohan, and Vegeta and Trunks never trained in the hyperbolic time chamber, but they're alive. Krillin never married Android 18 because she was shut down by the device, and Marin is never born. Why would they say that? No, that's kind of different.
they added Marin was never born.
They added Marin is never born. Shout out to Dragon Ball Wikia. Wow, they do a whole thing. This is why people can't edit this. They say, as a result, Marin is never born. Krillin presumably quits fighting, probably due to depression of Android 18 being dead. However, he can still use the Dragon Balls. This is literally word for word.
Oh man, that's
this timeline may lead to its own version of the Majin Buu sagas and Dragon Ball Super, with the difference of Goku being fully alive this time. And it's
right. But also that you have a Gohan that never went Super Saiyan 2. You got some different things.
You got some different things. Things don't advance the way they did without, people putting the pressure on them.
Well, I prefer our timeline. I prefer Timeline 1 in that case, because Timeline, what was that, 4? Sounds boring. They didn't even go to hypothetical time chamber.
Nothing happened. It was like they went on. They were like, "Oh, we found a way to defeat someone came from the future with a button to destroy the androids."
Now they're just chilling.
Timeline 5 is an unknown timeline. It said nothing is known about this timeline other than an incarnation of Trunks existed in it. The Trunks who existed in this timeline visited Timeline 3, Cell's timeline, in order to defeat future Frieza and future King Cold in Universe 3. He presumably never returned to Timeline 3 after heading back to his Timeline 5, and the Z Fighters that were killed in that timeline, he may... or the Z Fighters there were killed in that timeline's androids. What? Or he may have returned only to die alongside them, fighting the androids. So Timeline 5
is just like, I'm just gonna go do my best.
He came to defeat Frieza and Trunks. And I guess he gave... I don't know if he fully stopped everything from happening. Like a heart virus or anything. Because Goku still dies of everything. So there's a Trunks that shows up to Timeline 3.
Who does the normal stuff, except he leaves a bunch of stuff out, basically.
Yeah, he essentially... I don't know at this point what he returned for.
He just returned for Frieza and King Cold.
Might have just returned to stop
Didn't
Frieza
have
and King Cold.
any medicine for Goku. Didn't know anything about. Maybe this Trunks doesn't know anything about.
Maybe it's just like, listen, Frieza's a threat in this timeline. Still alive. Goku never makes it back in this timeline. He's just, off being a bad father in a completely other universe. Who knows?
Man, wow.
This is timelines in Dragon Ball Z. It gets real shaky. It gets real confusing. But, we have this source of Dragon Ball Wikia to depend on. This is it for episode 9 at this point.
Yeah, man, we went over a lot of fun stuff.
A lot of things happened. Yeah. We learned about time travel. The next episode, we're going to get into the history of Trunks movie. It's a dark movie. I haven't seen it in a number of years. I've only really seen it.
I haven't either, so this is good.
I've only really seen it once. We know everything that happens because it's one of the very few movies during this time that was sort of canon. Because everything in this movie pretty much plays a part in what happens in the show. So it's one of the few movies where it's like, because there's another movie with androids that apparently is not canon. Like there's 13, 14, 15 or something. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that movie is not canon. They don't talk about it at all during the show, but this movie they do. So, we decided, hey, we're going to talk about it. We get to see Trunks in this sort of desolate future and goes back in time and does all the things. And, we're going to discuss it in the next episode.
It's going to be emotional. It's going to be an emotional time.
Listen, we're going to break it down. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in.
Yeah.
To the Lookout. If you have not checked out our playlists, please check them out on Apple Music and Spotify. We've got a ton of new playlists out. We're updating our RNC Radio Live. We're updating R&B and RNC. We've got a ton of other playlists to check out. Being updated as we speak. We've got a bunch of different shows on our SoundCloud, on our iTunes that you can follow and also subscribe to. We've got RSPN featuring Jeff himself.
It's the best content out. We got the best content out as a whole.
And Mark, and we've got The Perfect Play. Shout out to Huey.
Yeah.
We've got The A Show with myself and Justin.
Yeah.
We've got RNC Radio, the podcast, featuring
That's
Justin
right.
and Josh Pease, always dropping gems on boss nigga discounts and all this other dope shit. We've got a new podcast coming down the pipeline that people should be very interested. If you like movies, you like this podcast.
Yeah. So excited for that myself, just on a personal level.
Right. So we've got a new podcast coming down the timeline. If you liked everything here, please subscribe, please like, please share, please tell all your other Dragon Ball related friends to binge this podcast. Start from episode 1, come down to episode 9, and then run it back and tell them, we've got more to cover. Yeah, man. You got any final words, Jeff?
Man, like I said before, if you guys haven't watched this stuff since you were kids or whatever, I'm 28 years old. Go back, watch it. I try to catch it, every year. To be honest, I'll try to watch through it. It's just you'll miss a lot of things when you're a kid, and come back and you watch it now as an adult. It's so fun. So
I don't think anyone's getting in depth as us in terms of this alternate timeline shit.
Yeah,
I find that shit very interesting.
It's dope. It's dope. Truly.
In terms of just trying to build the mechanics on it and the rules of it, and then the rules,
and just how it affects everything else in the future, and then. If you're up to date with Super, like what all of that did.
Listen,
it's so in depth, man. It's so cool.
It's so in depth. Thank you for tuning into the Lookout Podcast. It's been episode 9. Please stay tuned. Please subscribe. Please share. Please do all that stuff. And look out for episode 10. We're coming soon.
Yeah.
So until then, we'll see you next time. Peace.